Hello, Houston Texans fans. Today we have some hot news that you can't miss. So get ready because there's a lot of important information coming. Before we start, we'd like to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and stay up to date with all the news about our Houston Texans. Don't forget to leave a like, which really strengthens our community and helps bring this content to those who are most passionate about the team. Now, without further ado, let's get straight to today's news. Fox Sports names Ohio State OT Josh Simmons as Texans' top option in first round. Josh Simmons is headed to hometown if all goes according to plan. With the 2025 NFL Draft less than 3 weeks away, all eyes are on what the Houston Texans will do with the number 25 pick. Some believe it would be wise to add a point guard to replace former first-round bust Kenyon Green, especially with Laken Tomlinson and Ed Ingram serving as backups. Others are convinced to add a wide receiver to round out the trio alongside Nico Collins and Christian Kirk, though that would have to be the right target since Houston isn't expected to pursue a Day 2 player with its first pick. Plans may have changed since Houston's infamous trade of Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders last month. Yes, the Texans added Cam Robinson in free agency, but he's a stopgap option for 2025. If the Texans are wise, they'll add a long-term option with one of their first picks to reset the market and the timeline to pay for talent on the blind side, while C.J. Stroud prepares to get paid. Fox Sports' Rob Rang recently mentioned a player who fits every team's top needs heading into the twilight phase of the NFL draft period. For the Texans, Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons could fill one of two roles while anchoring the perimeter offensive line in Houston for at least 5 years. An offensive line that struggled to protect C.J. Stroud a year ago was further depleted by the trade of talented left tackle Laramie Tunsil, but with no fewer than 5 veterans added to the unit during the offseason, it may no longer be viewed as a critical need by GM Nick Caserio. Rang wrote, "Still, any team with a talented young QB should consider Simmons, the most talented blocker in this class." The San Diego State transfer appeared well on his way to top 10 consideration before tearing a patellar tendon and missing the final 10 games of the year. The 6'5", 315-pounder is an easygoing, well-rounded player with experience at both tackle positions, projecting as a long-time NFL starter. Simmons started more than 40 games during his 4-year college career at San Diego State and Ohio State, a right tackle by trade. He started the first 5 games for the Buckeyes at left tackle in 2024 before a leg injury sidelined him for the remainder of the 2024 season. Even in a small sample size, Simmons proved himself to be a physically imposing, loose, and powerful run blocker with potential in pass protection. He showed drastic improvements as a pass protector, showcasing his ability to make first meaningful contact with sticky hands while pulling pass rushers out of the backfield. Texans linked a former All-Pro to bolster C.J. Stroud's protection. The Houston Texans have had a relatively low-key offseason when it comes to bolstering their offense around quarterback C.J. Stroud, both in terms of new offensive weapons and line protection. But the front office could still make a move. According to Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox, there's one big name still available on the free agent market who could be just what the Texans need: veteran offensive guard Brandon Scherff. The Texans could use some more depth on the offensive line, especially after allowing 54 sacks in 2024. Knox wrote, "Brandon Scherff is a 5-time Pro Bowler who started all 17 games for the Jaguars last season. Scherff has a distinguished NFL career. He was drafted 5th overall by the Washington Commanders in 2015 after a standout performance at the University of Iowa. In 7 years in the Capitol, he accumulated 5 Pro Bowl selections and 1 first-team All-Pro selection, solidifying himself as one of the best guards in the league during that period. In 2022, he signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Although he has not maintained All-Pro status, Scherff has still demonstrated consistency and durability. He has played every game in the last 2 seasons, which contrasts with the injury history he had in his final years in Washington when he missed time for 5 consecutive years. At 33 years old, he may not be the same as he once was, but he remains a reliable and experienced presence, something the Texans urgently need on the interior offensive line, especially considering the unit's inconsistent performance last year. Although Houston can and probably will look to strengthen the offensive line through the draft. Adding a veteran like Scherf would bring immediate stability. Additionally, his experience could be valuable for the development of young linemen and, of course, for keeping C.J. Stroud upright and healthy, something that is critical to the franchise's success in the 2025 season.